Hi, Trev here from Trevs Bees, Facebook and YouTube. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about Varroa control. There's a big emphasis on the word control. This is not an elimination of Varroa, just to make it slightly more manageable and hopefully less treatments required. To that end, I use in all my hives drone trapping. I have one drone frame in each of my brood boxes. I run 2 brood boxes, full depth, in all my hives, and I have a drone frame specifically set up for the bees to draw into drone comb. And then, because of the length of the brood cycle, the Varroa prefer to breed in the drone frames. So to that end, as per scientific beekeeper Randy Oliver, I build these drone frames. I paint them red so I can see them very rapidly in the beehive and I know where they are. And I have one on one side of the box, and on the other, in the second box, I have the other one on the other side. I'll explain that later. So what we have here is we have a little bit of plastic foundation. Randy Oliver has found out that the bees still prefer to have a little bit of ordinary foundation up here where they can sometimes put ordinary brood, but usually they put a honey store above there. And this part here is all left open. So effectively the same gap as a 3/4 frame. Don't need to wax it or do anything with it. The bees will just automatically draw that gap out. And because it's an open space, the bees will draw that whole gap as drone brood. So effectively, all of that becomes a place where the Varroa will congregate. So just as before the drone brood is capped, the Varroa hops in with the larvae, sealed over. They do their days in there, breeding away, and the Varroa can get an extra brood cycle or baby cycle out. So rather than produce 2 females, they can quite often produce 3 in there. When that frame is capped, I then run around with my knife, cut that out and dispose of it. We will show you that in the hive later. There's also another method of doing it, and you can use a 3/4 frame. So as you can see the difference, about 50 millimeters at the bottom of the length of a 3/4 to the full depth. When you have this sandwiched between 2 full depth frames, the bees will draw this space out as drone comb underneath the 3/4 frame. Again, when that's all capped, that can be cut off. So you don't need to make a fancy frame like I have. You can simply use the 3/4 frame and that will have a somewhat similar effect. So, how do I set that up in the box? Okay, so this is a brand new box, but this is how I set them up in the beehive. So that across here is, well, from here to here is usually brood, sometimes goes out to the extra frame. This one will have honey in it, as will this one. And one frame out from the brood itself. So if there's brood on here, that's where I put this fella. And then the queen will come out here and she will lay all drone brood on there. And I cut that out, as I said, when it's full, and that's usually about 20 odd days, every 20 days. But I have 2 brood boxes, and I have one of these frames in the other brood box as well. So in the next brood box, I then transfer this frame to this side. So I've got one on this side, and then the other one is up here on the other side. Does that make sense? I hope so. That's only me. It doesn't really require that. They could be both above each other. It doesn't matter. So that's it for drone trapping. We're going to go out and suit up, have a look at in the beehive, show you how I've got the drone frames set up, and in my long hive I actually have one of these frames at each end. And in fact, we might have a look in the long hive today, and just to show you how I've set these frames up in the long hive as well. I've already cut the brood out, the drones out of them, so there won't be anything to cut out of them, but we can show you how they are and show you the bees actually drawing that out. Okay, we now come out to my long hive. Hopefully you've had a look at my video of when we set this up, and now we can explain it a little bit more. And this is just a configuration of where the drone frames are. So as you can see, there's one here and there's one down here, and I know that from here to here, because I've been through it all, that's all brood. Now I took the drone comb off this frame here a few days ago, so we're just going to have a look into here to see if there's any drone on this one, and there should be, because I haven't taken this one off for a few weeks. So we just open that up, and this is exactly what we wanted to see. You can see here that this is all drone brood, and it is all going to emerge fairly soon. So now that it's all capped, I'm going to remove that, and any Varroa that's in there will get destroyed. So what we do first off is we just shake most of the bees off. Get a bit of duck wing or goose wing, and you can just brush off the extra bees. Just sit it upside down each end. Down here, and all that is drone brood. That will all now go in the rubbish tin. But we're going to have a look shortly to see how much Varroa is actually in there. So that's how you remove the drone comb. When it's all capped like that, as you can see, that's pretty near fully capped. There's a little bit down here uncapped, but all that will have any potential Varroa in it that's in the hive. Hopefully not too much. So I'll now close the hive up, and we'll have a look at another frame. Okay, so we've now opened this box up. We want to have a look at the 3/4 frame to see the wax, see what the bees have done to that. This is a full depth box, Remember that 50mm gap that I was talking about? And this is what I'm talking about. I'm recharging the Man Lake frames in here. So they're 3/4, and you can see that they've put all that burr comb on there. Oh, and here's Queenie walking around. So we obviously need to be careful with her. So the first thing we do is gently shake all the bees off. Make sure that Queen's gone, which she has. Get my feather. Wipe off most of that stuff off the bees. And now we can just slide the knife down and there is that drone comb removed. We'll inspect that afterwards for Varroa as well. Okay, we just now got the drone frame out here. We now want to check this. So what I do using the capping fork is I go in here just below the surface, lift it up carefully, and I now have a look. When you lift it up, you pull all the drones out. Of course they're all dead now with a piece of steel through the head, and I have a look to see if I can see any Varroa on them. That lot's clean. That lot's clean. If you've got chooks, you can feed all this to the chooks. They love it. If you find more than about 5 Varroa per 100 that you uncap, you have a problem. Currently, that's all clean. So I'd have to say that my treatment this year has been reasonably successful. Of course there is Varroa in the hive. Everyone has Varroa, or in New Zealand anyway. So we'll just have a quick look at these ones that I took out of the other hive. Here we have a couple of Varroa. And there's another one that was, I noticed, just scooted down there. So that Varroa is now dead because it's out of the hive. If you let these cool down properly, and they're not quite so soft, it's easier to get to pull it apart. But that looks pretty clean. So that's it from drone trapping. And that's it from me from Trevs Bees on YouTube and Facebook. We'll catch you around in the beehive. Thanks.